Hello, folks. Part two here, talking about short-term decision making. We introduced or talked about the idea of sunk costs in the first half of this presentation, but I just want to expand a little bit more on it and how they can be a detriment to making good decisions. The sunk costs are not affected by our current short-term decision. So they've either been already committed. We have a long-term lease agreement. We have a labor contract. It's not going to matter what decision we make. We still have to pay our employees, or we still have to pay the lease payment, even if we eliminate a product or reduce the cost of the space we need, any of those things, because it's committed or it's already been purchased. We make bad decisions when we focus on what has already happened. So when deciding whether or not we keep our old car or get a new one, the fact that we paid money 4 months ago to have some repairs on that car is irrelevant. Nothing we decide about that car now will change what we paid 4 months ago. We should make our decision comparing the cost of each alternative. This is what the cost going forward will be on buying a car. This is the cost of going forward to keeping the old car. That means that it is less certain, right? We have some uncertainty. We have to make estimates. But even though the cost in the past is exact, we know exactly what it is not relevant for making our decision. Okay? That's not coming back. And this happens all the time. Businesses will pursue various products or things even after it's clear that they're losing money, because they've already spent money on it. They already bought that. They already bought that property. We have to go forward. That governmental entity, we have to spend more money on this project because we already spent so much. No, the idea is there a better way to do it? You're not captured by what you've already spent. That's a sunk cost. Now, this next decision is similar to a product decision, except now we're doing it in terms of a customer. There are certain customers, especially if you're in certain fields, where the decision is not necessarily what products to sell or what services to provide, but to which customer. And some customers may be unprofitable, and that may come because they demand so much extra attention. They may not buy enough. They may not have enough volume. They may have other issues that we can't make money on it. So we're going to compare the revenues for those customers with a variable cost and the direct fixed costs, those that will actually disappear you stop serving that customer. Make sure that you know which of those fixed costs are really going to go away. You have to be willing that if we drop a customer, that we'd actually get rid of a fixed cost that goes along with that customer. Now, I will posit in this instance, and this actually can apply both to product decisions and customer decisions. It may look like on paper that this customer is unprofitable and that we would be better off, have a higher profit. So we could do with the customer, do an income statement without a customer, without that particular customer. And we may show that we will be better off without them. The better approach in many cases may be to just charge more to that customer to cover the additional cost. So if they require special treatment, if they require the product to be updated or changed, or other costs, require more labor, require more salespeople, whatever, then let's just charge them more enough to cover those extra costs and let them decide if they want to stay with us or not. Many times that is so much better for our reputation and our customer service approach than just saying, oh, sorry, we're not going to do business with you. It could really reflect poorly. So while that is how it's presented in the textbook and many places around, in many textbooks in the school setting. In real life, I would recommend against utilizing this very often, except with very small customers who you don't do a lot of business with. Then maybe you could make it wouldn't hurt you overall. But a big customer, even if they're unprofitable, or even a significantly small customer, you still may be better off just raising the price. Now, special order. This has similarities to the make versus buy, but has a different take on it. The idea is a customer has come to us. They want a special order. That when we say special, we mean they want a price reduction. They want, in return for like an extra order or a bigger order or something like that, they want a special price. If it's the regular price and they're just offering to buy our product, we say yes, right? That's doesn't require a decision per se. So this is a special price, differentiated from our regular business. First thing to look at, are we operating and can sell all that we can make at the regular price? If we're selling everything we can make at a regular price, why would we make a special order? That would mean that we would have to stop making regular products in order to make this special one to make less money. That would be a bad decision right off the bat. So if you're already running your machines all that they can be run, and your people are already working full time and maybe even overtime, then you say, sorry, we'd love to help you, but we can't provide a special order at that price. We're more than happy to sell to you at the regular price. Okay? However, if we have capacity, if we have people that are not fully busy, if we have machines that are not running all the time or space that we can utilize, then it makes sense to consider a special order even at a price lower than normal. And what we're looking for is this: does this special order price enough to cover the variable costs, the direct materials, direct labor, variable overhead, and any special fixed costs that come with that special order? Is that enough? Is the order price, even though it's lower than our normal, is it enough to cover those? If it is, then it would still be profitable for us, because it would still contribute to covering our fixed costs. We would have enough to cover the variable costs and some to go against fixed costs. There are risks to accepting a special order. Other customers should get word, and then everybody's going to want a special price, perhaps. Could happen if we're not clear about why this was a special order. Often we want not just a special price, but also something different about the packaging or something else, so to differentiate that what we did on this case justified the lower price. This same customer, okay, will expect the lower price next time too. That's really hard to avoid. If this is we kind of think this will be a one-time deal with this customer, you're more likely to not worry about that risk. Okay? And then you need to communicate why it's special and if it's a one-time deal. All right, some other items that go along with this short-term decision. Kind of a compare and contrast between two ways of dealing with coming up with your price. Now, deciding what price to charge customers is a big part of business. You charge too much, no one is going to buy it. You charge too little, you can't make a profit. So there is a sweet spot in there somewhere, and if you know what your costs are and you know what the fixed and variable and all that and your customer demand is, then you come up with a price that will not drive customers away but will generate appropriate profit. Now, on the extremes of this decision, how much to charge, are cost plus pricing and target costing. Target costing is a situation where you are selling a product that lots of other people sell. So when you look around, you see what everybody else is charging. You can't charge more than that. If you're selling dish soap, there is a lot of competition, a lot of other people, things that can be bought. Now, unless you can somehow make yours unique, your product is going to compete directly with dozens of other products. And if you charge considerably more, even a few pennies more than what somebody else is charging, then you're not going to sell anything, okay? Unless you happen to be stocked on shelves that they can't choose the other products, but that's going to be very rare. So you pretty much are stuck taking whatever price is already been established in the market. So that is your target price. You then look at how much money you want to make your profit, your target profit. You subtract that out, and that gets you your target cost. And then basically you break that down and see can I get my direct materials, direct labor, variable overhead, fixed overhead to be under that target cost. If I can, I should make the product because I can make a profit. If I can't, then I either need to go back to the drawing board, figure out a way to cut costs, or I should not make this product because at that target price, I will not make a profit. Okay? The other extreme are products that nobody else is making that are completely unique, so it's very hard to set a price on them because there's no reference point. And so in this case, we're going to count up all of our costs, and the deal is going to be we're going to add some percentage on top of our costs, so we still make a profit, but that's how we're going to determine the price. We won't know what the price is of this product until we're done making it. So very customized things. They gave some examples: nuclear submarine, custom home, or a painting of a mural. You're going to send the bill, if you will, at the end based on what it costs, and just add 10%, 20%, whatever you agree to. There's going to be a very specific contract between you and the customer that's going to state what cost means, so how much are the fixed costs and other things that are included, and what percentage you're going to upcharge them for it. And that's how you're going to determine the price. So if it's a specialized product, you're more likely to use cost plus. If it's a uniform product around for everybody, more likely to use a target costing scenario. Now, another kind of variation on this costing issue, and that is what's called theory of constraints. Now, theory of constraints works on the concept that you covered in your first memo, just-in-time inventory. The idea that you have very little inventory. You have stuff flowing through your production as you need it. Okay? What that ends up doing is you are trying to maximize how much can move through your process. You really want things to go through quickly. You're focusing on the flow, because any stoppage, any time that you're making something and it stops, you're going to have a problem because you don't have any extra inventory. So customers are going to be mad because if you're stopped, then they're not getting their product because you're making it right as you need to ship it to the customer. So in that situation, there is this theory that tries to maximize your ability to be profitable given a very low inventory. And notice it's focused on how fast things flow, not on the cost. So it kind of doesn't worry about the same way fixed and variable. It's more worried about how fast we can do things. It really is underlies, it basically thinks most things are fixed, even direct labor. Theory of constraints is kind of the idea that all costs are fixed, almost all costs are fixed, almost everything except for direct materials. So if we can make it faster, then those fixed costs get used better because there's no way really to reduce them in the short run. So this is what it's worked on. You find a place in your flow of stuff through your factory where it gets stopped up, where it can't make it through. You see these bottlenecks, is what they're referred to all the time. When you're going to the grocery store, when people wander through the store all they want, but when they try to check out, that's a bottleneck because there can only be so many people checking out at the same time. So you can have 500 people in the store, but what the problem is when they go to check out. It's not usually when you usually can still pull things off the shelf. That's not the bottleneck. Seldom are you standing there waiting to pull salad dressing off the shelf, but you may be standing in line, okay, at the checkout. That's the bottleneck. Where you see lines or backups, that's a bottleneck. So if you want to make things flow faster and use your fixed cost better, you need to optimize that constrained resource. Wherever the bottleneck is, you need to make it as efficient as possible. Figure out ways to make people able to flow through that area or make the product flow through that area faster. Then all of the other areas of the factory respond to the bottleneck. It doesn't do any good to bring stuff to the checkout counter if there's a big long line. That does not speed things up. So you might as well stay shopping, or you might as well not have things move from production into the bottleneck until the bottleneck is open or ready to go. Then after you've done those two things and it's still a bottleneck, you need to increase the bottleneck capacity, add checkout lines, add machines. Once that has happened and it is no longer a bottleneck, there will be another bottleneck. This is a constant process. You find where things are getting backed up, you speed that up, you make it better, and then someplace else. And you've seen this on the freeway when you're driving. You get through a slowdown where they constrain to one lane, that gets freed up. They open the lanes back up, it starts to flow, and then it hits another bottleneck, the exit or something like that. There will always be another one as you constantly improve yourself. Now, finally, we mentioned this as we went along. Any of these decisions you need to think about things other than just the dollars. Sometimes you are going to make decisions that will make you less profit because you are worried about quality, speed of service, reputation, your employees and their morale, okay, or you're responding to an emergency situation of some sort or another. Therefore, you are going to make a decision that on paper, using the tools we've learned about, okay, they would tell you to do one thing and you're going to do the other, even though it's going to make you less money. Now, I say that you should always know that you're doing it, okay? You should run the analysis, even if you're going to make the decision based on speed of service. You still would look at the alternatives so that when you make that decision based on that, you understand what you're sacrificing, and maybe in your analysis you'll be able to get both. Maybe you'll be able to get the speed of service if you really are creative and achieve the cost savings or the additional profitability. But you won't get there if you don't consider both.